the Amazing Women Speak podcast, inspiring and motivating every Black woman to own, honor, and execute her amazing, individually and collectively, as it was established at birth.
Happy Sunday evening, and welcome back to Amazing Women Speak. I'm Crystal L. Gunn, and I welcome you back for another awesome episode. And thank you so much for joining us. So while you're getting settled in for this show, do me a favor and hit the share button and share Amazing Women Speak so your friends and followers can get in on this conversation. So tonight, let's tap into a little more bullshit. The end of 2023 is rapidly coming to a close, and individuals are lining up their New Year's resolutions as it has been done for 4,000 years. An average of 44% of Americans make New Year's resolutions before the night is over. Only 31% of people stick with those promises, and 81% fail by February. The failure to keep New Year's resolutions is so big that January 17th is Ditch New Year's Resolution Day. And what are the most popular resolutions? To exercise, to eat well, to lose weight, and to save money. So let's talk about the bullshit of New Year's resolutions and what you should be doing in order to realize the changes that you seek. But Michele, come on in here, dear. And as always, thank you for saying yes to Amazing Women Speak. And thank you for curating these super dope conversations and sharing your amazing with the world.
Thank you. No better place to be on a Sunday evening than to share space with amazing women, having amazing conversations where we continue to find strategies, first to name what the bullshit is, and find strategies to change the narrative, change the conversation, and really own and execute our amazing in whatever the topic is. And tonight's topic is one that makes me cringe every year. And I'm so glad that we're having this conversation earlier in the year, because I already hear people talking about, well, I'm going to wait till the first of the year to start that. So I'm really excited to have this conversation. But before we can do that, we need to bring in our amazing guest that she can help us guide this conversation. Dr. Kelly Brittain, please introduce yourself.
Hi, excuse me. I am Kelly Brittain. I am a researcher and mom and passionate and amazing woman who has really great and not so great experiences with resolutions. I'm happy to join you all for this fantastic conversation.
So, fastest hour of our day. This conversation is going to go quick. We invite you always to drop your questions, your comments in the chat. We love to make them a part of this conversation as we go through the night. So, Dr. Brittain, we want to start unpacking the pressure that we put on ourselves about New Year's resolutions. And I was saying it's one of those things that really gets to me. I have a visceral reaction when people start talking about, and I once was one of those folks, right? But we put all this pressure on the flick of a calendar to do something that clearly, if we had done the work earlier, we would already be doing. Why is it that we're willing as human beings to put this kind of pressure on ourselves when history has told us, right? Because we keep doing it every year, that we need a different strategy.
You know, one of the things is that we humans are nature bound. And so in psychology, there's this term called heuristics. And our brain, because we have so many things going on to keep us breathing and our hearts going, we take shortcuts. And so it is really, really easy for us to take this annual tradition shortcut because we are informed by our traditions and by our culture to just go ahead and make these particular moves, even though we've experienced some failure with it. It just seems like the thing to do in our culture. One of the things that you and Crystal said at the offset, which is really key about resolutions, is the word resolution only means the determination. What's lacking in successful resolutions is the planning.
Mm.
That's where we start. That we start at what we're going to do, but we don't plan it. It's almost like nowadays. Now, if you remember a long time ago, if you were taking a trip across the United States or to another state, you went to AAA, got the trip tick, right? Because we were planning. We were planning it. Even now, when we Google Map something, we are planning for our destination. Where these days, I know how to get back and forth, but I need Google Maps because I don't know which exit is open today, which wasn't open
Right.
yesterday.
Right.
So the failure of our resolutions is not always in our determination, our feeling about it, our passion for it. It is we don't plan.
So let's talk a little bit about motivation, right? Um, and while, so one of the things that I get to do walking through this world is personal training. And we talk about motivation is not the thing that's going to get you to where you need to be. It's consistency, right? Consistency will kick in when motivation runs out. How do we think about motivation to do something different? Crystal listed, right? Finances. I'm going to work out. I'm going to eat better. What role, if any, does motivating ourselves to start thinking differently play in this?
I think really motivation plays a large part, but the thing that we do often is we have a vision of the forest, but we haven't envisioned every practical step to make it a real lifestyle choice. So, for example, when we're thinking about weight loss, somebody might actually have maybe their doctors told them 20, 50 pounds, to their goal weight or whatever have you. But 20, 50 pounds is a lot. It's a lot if we are actually trying to make this a lifestyle so that we don't have to keep doing this over and over and over again. And so, really, when we're talking about the motivation, what do you in your heart of hearts have the motivation to do?
Mm,
Now, do you hearts have the motivation to maybe increase your water as the very first step? In your heart of hearts, yes, you may want to go to the gym every day and you are motivated and you're in but you are a busy person. You have 3 kids, 6, 8, and 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, right? Whatever it is. Or you are a single woman that is striving, achieving, has late night meetings, early meetings, and everything like that. So maybe your goal of the gym is not practical. It's an aspiration.
right.
It's not practical based upon everything else you have going on in your life. So, how do you scale that down to something that's manageable and not punish yourself for making the decision that you can actually stick to? So, for example, one of the things I committed to over the last, I guess, since the pandemic. Since the pandemic, I went on a nutritional weight loss journey and it was incremental. And one of the things I first committed to was really leaning into the fact that I knew I wasn't drinking enough water, half the body weight in ounces. So I started there. And until I could manage that, I did not make another step. When
Mm,
I could manage that, I then decided to change my eating habits while working out. I did what everybody else does on the working out. I'm going to be 5 days a week, 7 days a week. I'm going to do hit training and I'm going to do this, that, and the other. It lasted 100 days because that's what the plan was. It was 100 days. But I didn't have a plan for what fitness looked like for me after 100 days. So I had to rethink that whole thing, but I didn't punish myself. So one of the things that we have to do in trying to achieve our goals is not punish ourselves or defeat ourselves when we have to make a readjustment, a realignment. I was like, "Oh, I can't do this fit exercise 7 days a week. I need to find something that actually is more for me." So I chose yoga and I made the aspiration small. I said, "Can you commit to 2 days a week?" And I said, "Yes, I can, because that's Sunday and Saturday. If I can commit to Sunday and Saturday, I'm doing good because I said 2 days a week, knowing that I could probably do more. But what is the bare minimum so that
Okay.
I can reach my goal consistently?" So once I hit Saturday and Sunday and Saturday, I figured out when could I squeeze in that Monday, that Tuesday, that Wednesday, so that I could feel good about it. Could I commit to an hour? No. Can I commit to getting ready, putting on some clothes, driving 10 minutes, doing a half an hour drive? That's a whole hour. In my day, sometimes I don't have an hour. So I had to find a fitness program that I could do at home, that I could have on my top looking cute, have on my yoga bottoms, and in my hour lunch, do that 20, 30 minutes of yoga, freshen up, get back at it. So I had to make it manageable. I think a lot of resolutions come because we don't make them practical. I might want to save $1,000 or every month, but is that practical? But can I not have that latte every day? Maybe cut down the latte 2 to 3 times a week from Starbucks. That's possible. What are the things that will allow you to have a lifestyle and a life, and it's not seen as punishment? Oh, a lot of these things we think of as punishment. I gotta save the money, but that sounds like punishment. When if I have to
Mhm.
go without my lattes, I want to lose weight, but if I can't have an occasional margarita, for me, it's actually chocolate or chocolate cake or potato chips. That's my thing. Is potato chips. I'm just be
Same.
honest. I gotta have potato chips.
Mhm.
There's no way that I'm going to lose weight and not be able to eat potato chips. That's not a lifestyle. I could do that for 90 days, but
Right.
that's not a lifestyle. When
Right.
we are trying to be amazing and do these lifestyle changes, which resolutions should be, we need to figure out how can I make this a lifestyle and not punishment.
I so agree with all of that you said. Like, I had to make a change. I would work out online with Michele in the morning at 8 o'clock. And it had come for 2 weeks where I couldn't do it because my scheduling was so crazy. And I said, okay, I still have to get this thing in though. And for me, it needed to be 4 times a week. And it was a couple of things that I realized though in doing the change. One, I am far more creative, if you will, in the morning up until, from 7 a.m. to noon or to 1. And then after that, I need a nap. But I'm more creative in the morning. So because of that, scheduling was so crazy for 2 weeks. I wound up working out at 1 in the afternoon or 8 p.m. And it just wound up working better. However, there was the thing that I said, okay, how do I hold myself accountable for the thing though? Because historically, it was either a trainer at the gym or me getting up at 8 o'clock to work out at 8 o'clock because that's what time Michele was online. And I says, now I don't have anybody that I'm meeting. How do I hold myself accountable? So I said, okay, if I want to work out 4 times per week until the end of the year, that gave me at that time, it was like 50 workouts. And so I said,
Mhm.
okay. So I wrote 1 through 50 on my chalkboard wall. And every time I'm done with one, I, you know, erase that one so then the rest of the days are there. But it gives me a visual and it helps me hold myself accountable. But I wasn't crazy enough to think that I'm going to be able to do that 7 days a week, even though I would love to work out every day. The reality is I'm not going to do that. So I had to set my goal, what was acceptable for me, and how do I hold myself accountable. And too often, you're absolutely right. People think when I have financial workshops or working with financial clients, and I ask them, well, what do you think when you hear the word budget? And they always say restrictions.
Mhm.
And when you try to cut a thing out cold turkey, totally do the change, you're setting yourself up for failure. And then when you fail, you get frustrated and you never restart the thing.
It's one of the things that I talk to my daughter about is that you don't start off being perfect, right? It's a learning process, and every time you have a misstep, it's not a failure. It's a time for you to kind of rethink, well, how does this really work for me? Like it might not really work that well. So, and in saving, you might have to go ahead and open up that second savings account or that other savings account and put the $50 aside or whatever the number is, so that it's less accessible to you as you begin to retrain how you're thinking about your spending and things like that. But I always think of the low hanging fruit. So for me, in saving money, is getting rid of Big B coffee. Okay, so now I'm gonna buy me some Maxwell House coffee. I'm gonna buy my creamers or whatever. With my health now, I don't use creamers. I have my coconut oil, my MCT oil, or my other stuff. But I had to rethink that. So that wasn't going to be a thing. And if I'm on my health journey, then obviously some form of the ways that I'm eating out is going to change as well, right? So some of those things that you're doing for one thing also helps in the other areas as well. But be practical. And I've stopped thinking about my weight loss journey and my water as punishment. It is a part of a lifestyle. It is a part of my investment in myself. It's my daily investment in myself. And I was listening to Corey Mascara. Um he does a lot of mindfulness talks, and the ways that we think about honoring ourselves daily is so important. So the ways that we want to save, the ways that we want to honor our bodies, which carry our weight, and if we're thinking about being amazing, there's no more time in the day. So we have to be on point physically, mentally, emotionally, and there's one other thing, and spiritually.
Hmm.
Those four areas, we have to operate at our high levels, and doing things intentionally with resolution, but also with planning is very, very helpful.
Right? Like we practice through the years how to lie to ourselves with what's supposed to happen on December 31st. And this is what I mean, right? Oh, I'm going to start on Monday, right? Like I'm going to start going to the gym on Monday, and it's already Sunday. So now, I mean, and it's already Tuesday. So now you're saying you're going to wait a whole nother week for something
Hmm.
that you could actually do that day, that you could do that moment, right? Like, so we spend all year lying to ourselves, talking about what we're going to do starting next week, or, oh, I might as well wait till Monday. Like, there's some magic sitting in that day. And there's no more magic on December 31st when that clock clicks. It's about you. So, what's the importance of the why, right? Like, I no longer take clients who tell me, oh, I want to lose weight for a trip. Not doing it, right? Because if you're not talking about something where you're trying to sustain something, it's not a value add, because what you're willing to sacrifice your body to go through for that
Hmm.
short term win, I don't want be a party to that, right? Like, because it's not the mentality that we should have when we're thinking about caring for our bodies. So, how important is it to unpack the why of the thing, like whatever it is? How important is that why?
So there's two things that you mentioned that I wanted to lean into. You are so right that there is no value in really waiting to December 31st or January 1st. For me, what I tended to do and what I've done is actually make my birthday the day. My birthday and my birth month or my solar return is when I start to either start something or reevaluate something. It is within 2 weeks of that. And prior to that, leaning into your why is doing that self reflection, right? And certainly, maybe for a trip, might be the middle of the month. But if you actually have to lose weight in general, then the losing of the weight in general for your own health or how you want to look in clothes and things like that. I used to pick a number, a weight goal. But what I decided was I didn't want to do that. I wanted to look good for myself in whatever way I felt I looked good for myself in the mirror. So that wasn't necessarily based upon a particular number, but I did do my homework. As you've indicated, Michelle, is that do your homework. Sit with yourself for a moment and begin to just think about, well, why do I want to do this? How will this impact my lifestyle? What are the small things, the small wins I can build upon? And why is Monday better than Wednesday or
Mm.
Thursday better than Tuesday? And in some instances, you might have a valid reason because Sunday is a day when I can wake up and I can just kind of plot through my day. It's better than Monday because Monday I have a whole bunch of things going on. But to your point, you have to have that type of thought process, not just picking a day randomly, but really being thoughtful and about what you're doing. I've gone through weight loss. You lose the weight, you gain some back, but not all of it. But now being over 50, right? My why now has more to do with longevity, right? And actually being a living testament to Black Don't Crack, right? Being a living vision of Black Don't Crack, but also recognizing I'm a nurse and I'm a health researcher by background. And I understand about the importance at this point of being flexible and being mobile and building a certain amount of muscle mass. I don't have to be bodybuilder, but if I want to prevent myself from future injuries and
Mhm.
falls, I have to work on my muscle mass and my flexibility and my mobility. And so, what are the things that I can do individually? That's a lifestyle that I can see myself doing at 70 and 80. I can still see myself doing some yoga. I can still see myself drinking my water, having my coffee, eating my kale, my greens, you know what I'm saying? And doing these things because I've incorporated them in a way that works for me. I don't meal prep. I don't know what meal prep is. I don't understand. Sometimes I need to just look in the refrigerator and pick something. So in that regard, I have all types of greens in my refrigerator now. There's some kale, some mixed greens, there's some spinach, there's some arugula. I've got some tuna in there, tuna in the freezer. I've got some lean meat. You know what I'm saying? I got stuff to make stuff. And all the other stuff. And so I live by that. What's in my pantry? It has to be convenient. And so I began to build and plan in that regard. But it's no better day than the day you pick to start for whatever reason. You don't have to wait till the 31st to get started.
Right. For me, I also think about the spiritual piece, right? Like I'm sitting here in November talking about what I'm going to do January 1, right? As if I get to assume that God's going to give me to
Mm.
December 31st versus being a steward over the day that He has given me. Right.
Mhm.
And so, really just trying to shift. We know that there's not now a lot of commercialization around New Year's Day. Right. So much so, Crystal lifted up that the 17th is ditch your resolution.
Hmm.
Right. Like there's so much commercialization around it that we're missing an opportunity to pay attention to the gift that we have today. And I really like how you talked about the importance of doing the small thing, because we also are of this mindset that if we don't accomplish that end thing, every step that we did accomplish along the way is not a win, right? Like
Hmm.
I love how you said, so I drank the water. Yes, that's a win to a bigger goal. So how do we begin to have conversations with ourselves or with folks that we are asking to help us to be able to break that goal down in a way that it is achievable and celebrate the successes along the way?
I did, and I tell folks just pick something that is going to be easy for you and that you can actually weave in your day. And so, if parking your car a little bit further and it's safe for you to walk a little bit further, then that's a start. if now you understand that 8 ounces of water is not enough, or 64 ounces of water is enough for a person that weighs 128 pounds and you don't weigh 128 pounds, then let's just start there, right? Can we get you to drink the 8 cups of water a day? Now, let's say you're going to start out and help people plan, help people to really kind of break it down. Like, first off, how much water do you drink a day? Well, I've had people just be like, "Well, I don't like water." Okay. But there's ways that you can add, lemon juice, apple cider vinegar. I have some infused tea bags. I have a tea bag in my water, just some hibiscus tea. But other ways to get you to drink the water and have it, do you like it hot? Do you like it cold? And then really just kind of lean into making it just available. So I really work with people to help them break things down. But honestly, Michelle and Crystal, that right there is a barrier because a lot of people don't understand that in order to be successful, you just don't wake up and do it, right? All great folks around the world talk about a plan, talk about thinking about it and mapping it out and taking it apart. And in essence, sometimes not ditching it, but rethinking about it. Well, what did I do? And not penalizing themselves for failure. So, we talk about Michael Jordan, all the shots, you only fail when you don't take the shot,
Right.
right? Talk about Kobe Bryant's, how often he practiced and things like that. And so, why do we think that other folks that we extol with greatness in whatever venue they are, that they don't practice and don't do some sort of preparation? And both of you probably do a lot of public speaking. And in that way, now in public speaking, you can probably get up and have a topic and you can flow in it. But I'm sure you can remember a time where you really needed to be very thoughtful and pragmatic about not 20 or 30 minutes. What was the story? What was the 5 bullet points? Now you probably do a PowerPoint presentation with just images, but there was a time when it was full of
Right.
words,
Right.
right?
Right.
I'm just saying it's a movement and people don't understand that. It's everything is a practice.
And part of that is a system. So your system of success and whatever the thing is that you're doing, it's the system. And it's like, okay, you add one thing and then you do that thing and then you add something else. But I think a major part of that is we talked about the why earlier, but going back and saying, okay, am I being honest and truthful with myself,
Mhm.
right? And do I love me enough, respect me enough to be honest and
Mm.
truthful and continue with the thing, even if I have to start over every single day? It's like, just don't stop starting over until eventually it becomes a lifestyle. So yeah, what is it? 20 days to a habit, 3 consecutive 20-day cycles for a lifestyle. You got to get it to the lifestyle. And even when you get it to the lifestyle, please believe you're going to slip back,
Mhm.
but you just restart it over and go back and remember why you're doing the thing in the first place. And it is the system. It's a system. It's a system of success. And I don't care what it is. And I always come a lot and speak from the financial side because of what I do, but it is setting up that system, and the same system isn't going to work for everybody. So
Mhm.
part of this process too is you got to go back and remember and do some self discovery on why you operate the way that you operate as well, and why you want to do the thing and change the thing that you're trying to do.
That's
And
a lot of
if you,
work. Ooh.
well, whatever. What did you say, Michelle? A few episodes ago. Now we at the grown up table. Yeah, it is a
That
lot of work.
that is, you know what? And what I have seen is that the thought of that work for a lot of people is daunting. To call yourself out on the carpet
Right.
for whatever it is and to be accountable to yourself is very, very hard. I think a lot of women are able to be accountable to other people with no problem. But when we have to self care, because I think of self care as being accountable to myself, that part is very, very hard. And then to also say that there are some things that I might not be so good at, and but the fruit is in getting better at those things that you're not good at. Right? That's where the real growth comes in. And deciding to take that time for yourself. I decided that for me, the fitness, which has never been my thing. I've never been athletic, never been exercise anybody, whatever it was. I can do something with my brain. That's the easy thing,
Hmm.
right? Now, getting a PhD, being married at the time with 3 kids, working full time, going to school full time, did that with not a problem. Now you talking about me doing some burpees? That's a problem. That's a problem. That's a whole problem. So I decided purposely to lean into my physical health and strength because that was hard. And I
Hmm.
wanted to do something hard because I know I can do my why, even in that space, was just to prove to myself that I can do hard things and that I can still continue to grow. So the benefit is I've increased flexibility, weight, and I've toned up. But the overarching thing now is I think I'm invincible. I
Okay.
think I'm
Hmm.
invincible
Right.
because I've conquered something that over so many years I've never been able to conquer.
Yeah, right. Like remembering the value of the thing that you are waiting for December 31st to start January 1st to start anyway, right? Like you deserve the gift of that right now,
Hmm.
right? And to start working towards it, it isn't, like you said, a punishment. Those primary things that Crystal lifted up that most of us select as our goals, weight, finances, um,
Eating
working out,
healthy.
diet, right? Like those things are all to our benefit.
Hmm.
And so just even seeing it as this is a punishment, like changing that mindset right in at the beginning really will help set you up for success. And because it is about a successful outcome, again, why would you wait when the only thing that you have promised is this moment in front of you, and to use today to start planning to reach that goal starting tomorrow? I'm going to actively, and really, I love how you're like, let's take this thing down to a micro, right?
Hmm.
Like, we're going to take many, many bites off of this big elephant thing that, again, I keep waiting. There is no magic.
Nope.
You are the magic, and you
Ooh,
deserve the start of that victory today.
I love that. You are the magic. I
Hmm.
love that. And I don't know, tomorrow when I start over, because I know I didn't drink enough water today, right? But I'm not gonna beat myself over it. I just know that tomorrow, how do I plan to do better? Um, when I went to a conference, oh, I ate dessert every single day of that conference. It was a 3-day conference. I ate dessert all 3 days. But I went ahead and decided that once I got back from the conference, it was time for reset, right?
Hmm.
No problem. I'm going to, drink my water, have my tea. I'm going to eat more of my vegetables. I'm going to go meatless for a day or so to get my body to reset. So it's no punishment, no fell off the thing. So I enjoyed myself. It is what it is. And I do know how to reset and to recalibrate.
Okay, so for those people who really are just like, nope, I need it, right? Like, I need to clean up some things. I need to, right, reset some things. So I'm going to still just wait, right? Like, what's part of the message to that group of folks?
So in your waiting, you need to start planning. So don't make this just I'ma just wait until that day, because one of the things that you're not using in this time is going to AAA and getting your trip tick, right? During this time between November 12th to December 31st, you need to be investigating the workout plans that might fit you. What are real goals, your why, right? Um, yeah, you want to lose weight, but then what? And that 50 pounds is really, really hard to come off in a year and you keep it off. One of the things people are able to do, they can lose 50 pounds in a year, but to keep it off in subsequent multiple years is a commitment to a lifestyle. So how about we not think about the 50 pounds as the overarching goal?
Mm,
That's the
Mm,
long term thing. But how about we just think about 5 pounds a month, 3 pounds a month, or even just break it down to for 1 month, I'm gonna make sure I get all my water in. I'm going to walk X many steps or whatever it is. Now begin to plan. Number one, ask yourself your why, and hopefully it is for you, for longevity, to maximize your full potential. And then break it down to those lifestyle things. Don't lie to yourself. You know how
right,
busy your life is.
right.
You know how sometimes unmanageable your schedule is. So make it practical. Make it something practical and give yourself those small wins. I often achieve more than 2 days with no problem. But on them weeks when I just couldn't, because I got conference, I've got work demands and deadlines, I still got them too. I still did it. I still got those 2 days. So really just make it practical. Celebrate your wins, whatever they are. I have a joy jar for 2023. My word for this year is joy. So once a week, I write down my joy things. And a lot of those times it is the things that I did for myself, my yoga, my water, and some other things. But use this time to plan and to reflect.
I love that. I love that. It's the practice, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
again, if you're going to wait until December 31st, and I encourage you not to do that. And if you are, right, like that planning is really critical, and asking that reflection piece, right? Like I need to ask myself why matters to me, and why would I put it off? Right? Like really challenging ourselves to think about, and then whatever the answer is to that, being honest with that person that's standing in front of the mirror, start even working towards that. I really like the approach of take it really, really small and call those things wins and build towards that bigger thing, right? Like you don't even have to think about the 50 pounds. If you start drinking the water on its own,
Mm-hmm.
it's going to take care of some of that adjustment. And when you
mhm.
start feeling the energy from that 2 or 3 pounds or the first 5 pounds that you lose, you'll find yourself getting into it if you're really committed. And that self reflection piece, like, why do I really want this?
Mm-hmm.
And it'll help you really build the frame around what the energy, what the level of commitment is that I'm willing to do this thing. Because again, if it's for the trip in February,
By June,
Mhm.
that weight gonna be back on.
And more. It's going to be back on and more. And you talked about celebrating your wins. Celebration is really, really important. And most people say in this instance, okay, I want to lose this 50 pounds or I want to save this amount of money or whatever the thing is. And they won't celebrate until they've reached the goal. But the celebration for all of the steps all along the way does a few things for you. It grounds you in it, right? And it says, okay, I am actually doing the thing that I set out to do. It
Mm-hmm.
also helps to change your mindset. And so the more you're doing it, the more you're celebrating it, the more you want to do it. And then you wind up holding yourself accountable, but it also shifts the energy, right? And so opportunity and people will come around to help you get to the end goal, but it all starts with you and going back and saying, you know what, I'm worth it. Whatever this change is, whatever I'm resolving to do differently and to be differently, I'm worth it. So if I have to start
Absolutely.
so
every single
Dr. Kelly,
day.
Dr. Kelly said, like we've all mentioned accountability, right?
Mm-hmm.
Some of us don't know how to be accountable to ourselves. Like you said, you talk about I can be accountable to other people. How do I start that process?
sometimes there's two ways to go about it. If you have not developed your own internal ways that you keep yourself accountable, that is safe. Because some ways we hold
Mhm.
ourselves accountable makes us feel really, really bad. But if you have not developed that, you need to find an accountability partner, someone who understands your challenges, but also will support you in that commitment, not in a badgering way, but just in a way that you can go ahead and check in. I love what Crystal said about her calendar, that she broke it down, her fitness goals, the 50 workouts, and she was able to X that off. Um, for me, I have an app that shows me when I did my couple of things of yoga, and it has, the little confetti and everything like that. But it's either one or two ways. If you're visual, if you have to keep a calendar, if you need an accountability partner to do that work with you. But I think it's a very good start to just reflect on that. I even have a scale that shows my body mass, my water weight, my muscle mass. I don't even look at the weight anymore because I'm so tuned into the water. I know when the water shifts, that the weight's going to shift.
Right.
So that for me is my accountability. And I don't weigh myself every day now because I know after almost 3 years of doing this lifestyle journey, I know when I'm up 2 pounds or down 2 pounds. I can feel it. I can almost guess my weight before I get on the scale. But until you get to that point, you do need to get on that scale every day. You need to figure out a way to keep yourself accountable to how you ate, to how you drank, to how you're saving the money. Some people don't like to look at their bank account every day and look at all the latte and the Target run and the Walmart that they got. I'm talking about myself. When you go to, how you go to Target and you supposed to go in and get $20 worth of things, you come out with 200 of the stuff.
You're
You
not
you know what I'm
alone,
saying?
Doc. You're
You
not
know what I'm
alone.
saying? So you don't want to look at your account, because Crystal, y'all usually had talked to Crystal, and you had a goal of saving $50 a month, but you don't, you know what I'm saying? So you don't want to look at your account and hold yourself accountable. So sometimes that accountability is just going and seeing a thing, right? I've listened to DJ Khaled. He actually talked about not having a business manager because that was his way of keeping himself accountable to his
Hmm.
spending.
Mm,
So when he has to look at his own account, when he's like, "Ooh, I done said yes to paying my mama bill and this trip and that trip. I can't say no to this gig and that gig and this gig because I done seen the money go out. Now I gotta have a replacement for it."
right.
And so sometimes we have to look at the thing. Sometimes that's our weight, sometimes that's our bank account, whatever the thing is.
So nothing about this, right? Like the reminder that it's not easy. If it was, we would already naturally be doing whatever the thing is every single day, right? And so oftentimes the way that we see our day, the way that we see victories or failures in general is also a part of that mix that indicates whether or not we're going to have any level of success, right?
Mm,
So even
mhm.
before looking at whatever this goal is, what are the things around me in my life that already would prevent me from being successful even if I wanted to? Right?
Mhm.
Like there's homework before the homework.
Yes.
And
Yes.
really being honest with yourself about, okay, right, like I do want to lose 50 pounds. And here are the things that have prevented me from already doing that. And what are those barriers and what are some strategies? So I might spend 30, 60 days not even focusing on weight loss because I have to clean up this other stuff,
Yes.
which is building accountability, which is building consistency to addressing issues, right? So there's so much more to it than just saying on January 31st, right? Like we all know those of us that went to physical gyms that were committed to working out, you would not see us in the gym for the first 2 weeks in January because we were letting all of the resolution folks come
Mhm.
in, right? In the gym, we didn't even have to wait the 21 days, Crystal. Right by
Right.
day 13, they were like, "Yeah, no, I'm not
They were
doing
gone.
it."
I
Right?
think the
Yeah.
thing that you mentioned, um, I call it self-management, right? And so where a lot of folks fall off and don't start is actually managing themselves.
Mm,
And you talked about reflecting on the and, because often we say, I want to lose weight, but,
but
and these are the reason why I can't. But you use the word and, which I think is very, very key, because that does not give you the excuse. It gives you the reasons, but then it also draws in that accountability, because a lot of those things, either you have to realize that there are some things that are movable and some things that are not movable, and what are the ways that you hinder your own success, right? So what are the ways that you don't manage your time well?
And it's
Mm.
what is it that they say? It's not the destination, it's the journey,
Yep.
right? And so
right.
as you're going along this journey, yes, your goal was to lose this 50 pounds. Yes, your goal was to save this money, or to, pay off this debt. But there's so many things that go into that along that journey that just improves you in so many ways. And it's those things, part of the celebration, but it's those things. So it's more than just that end goal that you're getting. You're getting everything in between that along that journey that's helping you elevate to that next level.
And
It
being
really
able
is
to
a
ask for help,
it
right?
Yeah.
and it also is about just looking at it. You What you said really made me think about the totality of a person. You are a whole person, right? Anything that you do in one area is going to have a benefit in another area.
Mm-hmm.
So
Hmm.
as you are growing in your accountability to yourself, your self-care, your physical health, your financial health, it just overflows into other areas of your life, into some of the other areas of your loved ones' lives as well. And I think when we do that work, and it is work, it's a commitment to
Right.
yourself. It's a commitment to, yeah, it's a commitment to yourself. And that's what we don't do well often, those commitments to ourselves. And when we make that commitment to ourselves and we show others that we can remain committed to ourselves, we become that beacon of hope.
Yeah,
We
right.
become that light.
As Black women, right? Like we put ourselves so far down on the list of things to do, that far down on the list on the things that matter, because I have to tend to all of this, right? Before I can. How do we begin to find it important to prioritize ourselves so that we have the right energy, the right space, the right commitment, the right accountability, fill in all of the words, right? That whatever this thing is that we're going to commit to, not on December 31st, keep saying that, right? That we find ourselves important enough to prioritize ourselves to get ready for the thing.
We have to really believe it. I think the hardest part for a lot of women is to actually believe their worth. Now, we're good at saying it. We're very good at saying it. We're good about posting it. We're good about liking the memes about it. But what are the actions behind it? Right? What are your actions behind your self worth? And where do you start? And if you like it and you say you about that life, how do you show it? Right? How do you show it? Do you show it by saying no to those commitments that are going to be emotionally draining, that cause you to emotionally eat afterwards? Do
Right.
you say it by going to bed at a good hour? Do you say it by drinking, two more cups of water today than you did before? Do you say it by making sure you walk them 10,000 steps or walk 2,500 steps or whatever it is. But I think that to me is probably the hardest part is to really get the action behind the words. And I think one day, I don't know, my children happen to be probably some of the greatest inspiration for me,
Hmm.
that I want to be an example to them, not of perfection, but of evolution,
I
you
love
know,
it. I love
but
that.
of evolution that that their mama never stopped growing. She did went on and did this and she changed that, but of evolution.
So
Love
when
that.
you think about prioritizing yourself, and I'm saying this to our listeners, right? If no one is bothered by what you're doing, you're not doing enough for yourself. If
Mhm.
nobody is
Whoa.
uncomfortable, you're not doing enough for yourself, right? There's still enough folks that you are putting in front of you that if everybody is like, oh no, we're good, she's great, you have not prioritized yourself high enough so that
Mhm.
you no longer have to pour from an empty cup. People should be agitated, people should be questioning, people should feel uncomfortable because you've put yourself above some things that you usually would not count yourself for at all. Let some folks be uncomfortable
Oh,
so
absolutely.
you
But
be able to prioritize yourself.
and that's very hard because a lot of people are people pleasers. We don't want anybody to be disappointed. We don't want anybody's feelings to be hurt or anything like that. And that takes some self-awareness. That takes some self-awareness too. And it takes a lot of courage to say, you know what? I am going to put myself first and it's going to be okay. Right?
In the chat,
Somebody,
in the
yes.
chat, Stephanie, Dr. Kelly says, as we go on our journey, we must love ourselves without question because this will fuel us on our journey.
Yes, absolutely. Without question. We are setting, like I said before, we are the beacon of hope for people we know and folks we don't know. Right?
Right.
You know.
Yeah. Powerful conversation. Like I said, I'm really grateful that Crystal had the thought to bring this conversation earlier. I think it was in maybe the second half of December last
Mhm.
year when we had it. And again, I'm already hearing folks thinking about the pressure they want to put on, and the missed opportunities is the other thing, right? Like you're
Mhm.
missing an opportunity to demonstrate your greatness by waiting for a calendar to give you permission to do a thing that if you were going to do it, you'd be practicing it right now, right?
Practicing it.
We're missing that opportunity to really do that for ourselves and to demonstrate to those who love us that whatever this goal is, that we love ourselves enough, it matters enough that we aren't going to procrastinate. We're going to start visioning and creating and planning today for that very thing. Do not wait to December 31st. Again, stop assuming that we're so special that God is going to grant it to us. Two, stop thinking, because again, we practice lying to ourselves when we always say, on Monday I shall start, right? If you can't get it together in 7 days,
Mm-mm.
certainly the flip of a calendar for a whole nother year, it's not going to happen either. Three, you owe it to yourself. You are the magic. In the chat, Net White says, yes, thank you for yet another great, inspiring, and encouraging and much needed conversation. Dr. Kelly, how can folks find you to continue this conversation? You have shared so many gems that should
Mhm.
have us all be thinking about what we're going to start doing, how we're going to start planning to be our better selves.
So you can reach me on Twitter at Dr. K Brittain, Brittain, or you can email me at KLYBRITT5 at gmail.com. I'm also on LinkedIn as well. As you were talking, Michelle, I pulled up something. I'm really all about self-awareness and self-improvement. And actually,
Mm,
I have a book, and some of the best financial and business leaders have read this book. It's called The Power of Full Engagement, right? And in this book, The Powerful Engagement, it talks about managing energy, not time, is the key to high performance and personal renewal. And what this talks about is that how we manage our energy and how we prioritize things actually helps create this amazing life for us. And then I also put up one thing, how to finish everything you start.
Mm,
And it starts with F, which is focus on one priority task. I, ignore interruptions or distractions. N, now is the time, not later or tomorrow.
I love it.
I, initiate and innovate. So you keep going, which means that if you don't have to stick to the one plan if it's not working. Initiate and innovate so you keep going. S, stay the course, however tough it gets. And H, hail finishing by celebrating your accomplishment. So that is how to finish everything you start.
I love that. I absolutely love that. So we told you, fastest hour of your day. Another amazing conversation. Dr. Kelly Brittain, thank you so much for
It's been
bringing
my
your
pleasure.
voice, your perspective, your gems to this conversation as we pay attention to the bullshit of New Year's resolutions.
Let's just not do it this year. We not gonna do. We're gonna start drinking the water tomorrow. We're gonna eat some more kale
That's right.
tomorrow. We're
That's
gonna
right.
not buy the latte and put the money from the latte in the savings. Or we're gonna call that the advisor for our financial advisor to get that life insurance together, right? To get that, all the other things we have to get done. Just do it tomorrow.
I love it. I
Send the
love it.
email tonight, but call
Yeah.
tomorrow, right? You said no
Carpe
time like the
diem.
president, right? Yes.
Carpe diem. Absolutely. Crystal.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Doc. I appreciate all that you have
My
lifted
pleasure.
up today. And Michelle, thank you for this conversation. To our listeners, you are so worth it. You are worth the change that you seek, and you're worth it today. Like, not a month and a half from now, you're absolutely worth it today. And as you go about this journey, I promise you, the things that you are going to learn about you are going to amaze you. The things that you ultimately will be able to accomplish if you stick to a plan or stick to your system will amaze you. And I think with each step, you're going to fall in love with yourself a little bit more,
I love
which
that.
I think is ultimately a really, really great thing. Thank you all again. I am Crystal Gunn. I am a Black woman, and I absolutely own my amazing. Shell.
So, as I close out every week, Crystal, I remain grateful to you for the commitment, for your obedience, that you continue to pay attention to your assignment, to create spaces that uplift and encourage and celebrate what it means to be a Black woman. You truly are continuing to bless women that have never had yet an opportunity to be in your physical space. Thank you for the gift of you. I'm so grateful to you, Dr. Kelly, again for an amazing conversation, for some really great tidbits. I love that acronym around finish, the importance of thinking about it and finishing what you started. So very grateful to have had an opportunity to share space and be in community with you. My name is Michele Harper. I am a Black woman, and without apology, I own my amazing.
And
We
my
invite you,
name,
Dr. Kelly, to come in.
yes.
Yes.
And my name is Kelly Brittain. And to own my amazing means that I have the will and capacity to seed, feed, weed, prune, and transplant parts of my authentic self.
I love
I
it.
determine the parts of me that live, grow, and evolve.
I
I
love
am
it.
a Black woman and I own my amazing.
Yes.
We
Yes.
absolutely love that, love that, love that. Thank you all so much for hanging out with us this evening. And I pray this conversation was helpful. And I hope that you don't wait until January 1st to start loving yourself a little bit more. Please find Amazing Women Speak on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, LinkedIn, and Spotify, and whatever your favorite platform. Do us a favor, like and or subscribe to Amazing Women Speak. And once you've done that, take a look at the past episodes. Look at the topics and find those which speak to your soul. And after that, share them with someone that you know. Mark your calendars. Where our topic will be, feedback is a gift. See you next Sunday.